Hi, we're Roy and Karen, and this is a blast from our past, way back in the past.
Way back. But before we continue, we've got some people to thank. Look up there, Ronnie Delaplane and Laura GB, both of them. Again, we are so appreciative. I'm going to put a link to our PayPal account down here, probably in the notes also. That's actually, if you want to support the channel, that's the best place to do that. How did it come to us doing a video about this adventure that we haven't told them about yet? I did a photograph. Take a look at this. They're looking at it back there. I did a photograph of us when we were both about 20 years old. And then it made me wonder, I wonder what is the oldest selfie that we have. And it turns out, well, selfies weren't even invented till 2012. So I found this picture of us when we got our very first RV. Our very first RV, we bought it in 1999, and it was like a 1984 or a 1987, something. It looked terrible. But we really weren't sure if we were going to enjoy it or not.
The point was just, are we going to actually do this and use this thing? What's this like? Can we handle it?
We are really enjoying this lifestyle. Let's go find something that's a little newer.
Yeah, Bridget was a toddler, and he finally got me to get up and go when she was little, and the only way we were going to do that was with everybody. So the picture that he put up there was with our oldest daughter taking a picture of the others. No selfies.
No selfies. All of our photographs are sitting back with Bridget back in Texas. But we do have a rather large digital library. And the first year that I could find an RV vacation was 2001. And when I was reviewing these photographs, these are some of our favorite photographs. If we're going to do an RV adventure for them, and we're going to do it with photographs to show our journey, this is like one of the perfect ones. Look at that face.
Our baby girl with her dolphin, giving us those big baby blues. Aww.
And who knows why she was sad there. But I will tell you, 2 seconds later, she's all ready to go.
Giving her impish grin.
Friday night, we're done with work, we're packing up, and one of the places that we almost always started our trips at was at Morro Bay. We found this little place right on the beach, and we would just park there overnight. Nobody could see us from the road. In the morning, we would just walk along the beach, take Nikki, our 100-pound Siberian Husky, for a walk.
My first child.
The following morning, keep in mind, we're in California and we're driving along the Pacific Coast Highway, Hwy 1, and we're heading north. A very typical morning on our RV journeys, even our RV weekends. The very first morning when we wake up, Karen would make us a full-on breakfast. And
it's the one meal we knew that baby girl would always eat.
But we were driving up north, and we got to Monterey Bay. We spent, I think, most of that day driving and then doing the aquarium. But we spent so much time in Monterey and driving that one of the things that was on the plan was to go to the Gilroy Garlic Festival. It was
never been.
It was an opportunity.
Deal.
And we got there too late. We were passing by when it was maybe a half an hour left of it. But right down the street, I had planned this. There was a campground, an RV park, right down the street. But the reason I picked this place is because they had a train for Bridget and they had a pool for us. And again, it was right near Gilroy. What a great RV park this was. We had so much fun there. Remember, for us, RVing isn't so much for camping. It's for traveling and exploring and adventure. When I look at this picture of us walking along the train tracks, it just all comes right back to me. The next morning, day 3, one of the things that we had seen on local California TV was this cement boat. And I don't remember the town it was in, but it just looked like such an oddity. I wanted to go check it out. All right, we saw it.
There it is.
The other thing was we were on our way to visit your family.
All in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Right, in Petaluma. And on the way there is the Santa Cruz Boardwalk. And again, trying to find things for us to do, find things for Bridget to do, find things for us to do, things for Bridget to do. And I remember her having a blast and going on the roller coaster with Dad and
getting more stuffies.
Yeah, that I remember all that. But we went to visit your family, and you can see these pictures.
Got to see my uncles. They came together in the one uncle's house, and my grandfather, and it was good. I love how everybody's so flexible. I mean, we're all spread out now, and when somebody's passing through, we figure out how to circle around and come together. It's nice.
Next morning, we are so close to Napa. We started doing wine tasting down in Temecula, southern California. As we figured out what wine is supposed to be, what it's all about, we just kept moving north. And we learned a lot about wines in Paso Robles. And I think this was our first time in Napa. And one of the things that I really wanted to do was I wanted to taste something extraordinary. I didn't want to buy a $1,000 bottle of wine, but I wanted to taste it. And so we went to this winery called Pine Ridge, and it had been written up as one of the most fabulous wineries in Napa. And I just remember walking up to the guy and saying, I want to taste something spectacular. And he looked at me like, you're not gonna.
I think he rolled his eyes.
You're not gonna.
He relented, and he gave us a very small taste. He thought, all right, let me show you what it tastes like.
I don't recall that.
Yeah.
But
then we bought it.
But we bought a $125 bottle of wine, and we saved it for a special occasion. Mm-hmm. One of the places we did stop this time was so unusual. We stopped at a sake factory. It was a totally different animal. I mean, I think they make that wine in like 24 hours or something.
Well, they had cold versions and hot versions and all kinds of things behind that particular wine.
But it was fast. It fermented very quickly. But it was so much fun.
Yeah, that was good. And they taught us the different nuances and flavors behind those. And it's like, okay, I had no idea.
And that's one of the beauties of going to places like Napa or Paso Robles, is that when we immerse ourselves in these things, we walk away with enlightenment. We went to Mondavi. And what's funny is, if you look at this picture, there's a picture of Roy with Bridget. Okay, now here's a picture of Karen with Bridget. The cameras we had back then, they were digital. We didn't even think of doing it.
Didn't hold it out there.
No. And so, unless somebody took a picture of us.
And we didn't ask very often.
No. Now we're going to day 5. Day 5, we're going to hang out the whole day at Lassen National Park. Now, you had been there before.
My grandparents took me as a preteen.
But I had never been to Yellowstone. I'd never been to Lassen. So I didn't have any clue as to what to expect. And I just remember we got out of the car. What the hell is that?
Not me.
Who did that? It's sulfur. And you walk around and all the mud is bubbling up and
all the volcanic activity.
Yeah, it was terrific. It was really, really great. But this was at a time before I had gotten into hiking. And you and I, we didn't go hiking. And this was a long day of walking. And I just remember my feet just killing me. I couldn't wear my shoes anymore. I was going and walking back half the time with just socks. My feet hurt so bad. And then, of course, walking in socks became painful too. Mm-hmm. So you just need to put the shoes back on. It was terrible. But Lassen was such a great place. Day 6 and 7, now we're going to
Lake Tahoe.
One of our favorite places.
Mm-hmm. My family's gone there for years, so it's been a meeting place. Special destination.
So early on in this video, I said that some of our favorite photographs are part of this trip. And this picture of Karen's dad wearing Bridget's little hat
Blue's Clues
is just it's your dad.
It's my daddy.
And when I think of your dad, when anniversaries come up, his birthday or his passing, that's the picture that comes to mind for me.
Yeah.
I remember the happy guy.
Yeah. Happy-go-lucky, low-key.
But look at this photograph. This is at Lake Tahoe. This is Bridget and Karen. And it's just one of my all-time favorite photographs. Every office I'd ever worked in, this photograph was on my desk or on my wall. I love this picture. We did dinner.
We had a brunch out on the paddle wheel boat on Lake Tahoe with my parents, and it was nice.
It was really, really nice. And we spent a couple of days there. Mm-hmm.
They stayed in the hotel, went gambling at night. We were in the RV. We've always been early risers and early to bed, and it was fun.
But it was relaxing. Mm-hmm. It was true. I love that high altitude location where this is hot down in the valleys, but you're up here at 7,000 feet, and it just feels wonderful. While we were up here, but we were on our way back, we went to Mono Lake.
So we went down the backside of the Sierra Nevadas, down 395.
We get just past Mammoth, and I found out about this little hot springs, and it was clothing optional, and we're bringing Bridget, so we're like, cross your fingers, let's hope it's okay. Run over
and peek and see.
Make sure everybody's staying in the water, you know. This was completely people just building rocks up and making pools. It was really fascinating. I'd never been anything like that. We keep heading down, heading south on the 395. And one of the things I always had to keep in mind was not driving for too long. Karen needs to stretch her legs because her back will start to hurt. So I'm always looking for little dumb things to do. So I saw a sign that pointed to the Walker River. So I pulled over, and Bridget got to play in the water. I still have these pictures, and when I look at it, I remember why I pulled over.
That's one of my sister and brother-in-law's favorite fishing places.
Out there, exactly. And then another place I pulled over just to give you a break was the hatchery, the trout hatchery. I have no recollection where this is, but it was somewhere on the 395 somewhere. This is where things get a little bit more interesting, because we're going back in time. It's kind of like going back to 2001. There was an internet. I mean, we got on the internet in 1991, so here's 10 years later. But the internet still wasn't what it is today. We didn't have an iPhone. We didn't have apps. Searching wasn't Google. And most websites to get information about campgrounds and things like that, they were all like text-based. It was not the same thing. And there was a website called Free Camping, and it had listings by state. It mentioned that at the base of Mount Whitney, there's a free campground. There's no electricity, there's no water, but it's right along a creek. I figured, let's stop at this campground on the way home. Yet we're coming down to 395. We're at 7,000 feet at Mammoth. But when we come down the hill to where this campground is, what are we? We're like at 1,000 feet. And instead of being a beautiful 70, 80 degrees, it's like 90 or 100 degrees. But so what?
There was like maybe 2 people out there with us.
Yeah, there was
way
nobody
far
there.
away.
But the campgrounds were set up really nice, and they definitely were individual campgrounds, and they were right along this creek. And I remember we have a big rug we would put out. And I remember playing with Bridget. There was a stick for some reason. Maybe it was for the dog or something. I don't remember. And then the sun moved across the stick. I thought, oh, this is an educational moment. So I brought Bridget and said, watch this, let's move the stick. And then 5 minutes later, the sun is caught up with the stick. And I just kept doing this, moving it, and explained to her about the sun moving and everything. It was great. I had so much fun. The following morning, the girls are sleeping. Daddy gets up early, gets his camera out, and the sun is just barely shining on Mount Whitney. Mm-hmm. And I just keep taking these pictures as the sun keeps moving down the mountains. It was just such a beautiful desert, quiet area. We were all alone out there. A magical end to the trip. I don't know if this video is too long, too short. I think one of us talks a lot. If this was interesting, then you might want to check out another one of our adventures when you and I flew into Cleveland and we rented a car and we just toured all the fall colors in New England. Mm-hmm. And went to Boston and had clam chowder. Check out this video right over here. In the meantime,
we appreciate you traveling with us.
See ya.